Hello and welcome. Hope you have been painting the town yellow with your enthusiasm and keeping in the pink of health. Trust that you have waited for us for a week and assured that we won't let you down. I'm Atika Farooqui and today we have movies that you must know about, a love story between movies and cricket, and a man that makes pure magic on screen through his music. So what are we waiting for? Let's start the show with the headlines. Cuttputtli is an inspiration from a Tamil film that is an Akshay Kumar-led story with thrills and mystery sewed in. Sita Ramam is a kind on the eyes, multi-layered, magnificent love saga that needs patience to be understood in totality. As Afghanistan strikes gold at the Asia Cup, a chat with Afghani actress Wareena Hussain on Rashid Khan and similarities between her homeland and India. Anushka Sharma's film NH10's director Navdeep Singh talks about the film that changed his life. And the good-looking singer Jubin Nautiyal talks about his new song Meethi Meethi. Let's talk about Cuttputtli that has released on Hotstar this week. An aspiring filmmaker turned a senior inspector in a hill station called Kasauli must put his investigative acumen to use as the city is being threatened under the dreary spell of a serial killer who kills and mutilates young schoolgirls' bodies and leaves a doll as a memento to own up to the job. He's a psycho on the loose. And Akshay Kumar as Arjun Sethi, a junior police officer, has been a repository in the knowledge of such crimes as his first preference as a career was to make films about serial killers across countries. He knows how they operate. Now, director Ranjit Tiwari and his writer Asim Arora build a real world around this whodunit story that moves at a consistent pace and occasionally nabs the killer to know that actually he wasn't the killer. It has the right thrill, a good background score. It's not as gory as it could have been owing to the subject of killing and mutilating, and is reasonably true to its genre. It's also a clear adaptation of a Tamil film Ratsasan, which was in turn based on a chilling true story of a Russian killer convicted of killing 7 teenage boys in and around Russia. The one problem that the film has is that it shows a man who has just joined the police force as the smartest, wittiest and the most perceptive of all, and eventually everyone must take his orders in searching the anatomy of this killer's mind, as either all of them are simply inequipped to be in the force, or this aspiring filmmaker turned reluctant cop is a messiah in investigations. He is also merciful as he does not indulge in custodial torture, rather narrates his stories to the nabbed criminals, ties the laces of pregnant women on the roads, a scene unnecessary for the kind of movie that it is, and ultimately is the real hero as opposed to a member of a team that cracks the case. As in many Akshay Kumar films, he does most of the storytelling here too. What goes in favor of the film is that it gets the eerie atmosphere right. The climax is chilling, justifies the wait throughout the film. Rakul Preet as a teacher and Sargun Mehta as a strict senior cop add balance to an all-male cast and scenes in the police procedural here, and film overall does justice to the original. But it's another Akshay Kumar-led story. Sita Ramam is a period romantic drama film. Set in 1964, Lieutenant Ram, an orphan army officer serving at the Kashmir border, gets anonymous love letters from a woman called Sita Mahalakshmi, who claims that she is his wife. Intoxicated by this expression of love, Ram is on the mission to find Sita and propose to her. The film, roughly close to 3 hours, is set like a saga of love between two people distanced by demographies and destiny. It has a lot of drama thrown in with references of Indo-Pak war, Indo-Pak diplomacy and its after effects in foreign lands, the militants' secret nefarious attempts to divide the Kashmiri Muslims and Hindus of Kashmir in the 1960s, and the multiple operations that Indian army takes there. And yet, none of it translates into jingoism, as all the focus is on Sita and Ram and in the unison of their love. A headstrong Pakistani girl tries to sabotage an Indian philanthropist's car, as she has to choose now between giving $1 million as fine or go to jail. She chooses the former. She travels back to Karachi to get that money from her grandfather, Brigadier Tariq, to find that he is no more. But he has a letter of Indian Lieutenant Ram that he needs her to deliver to his beloved Sita in Hyderabad in India. In this process, she finds staggering secrets between the identity of Sita, the post-war trauma and issues that soldiers go through, the secrets that governments must keep after wars, the intercontinental agreements that people get into, and the sad realization that after all, we are all puppets in the hands of destiny. Extremely rare and a good plot that we generally don't get to see in Hindi movies often or Indian cinema often. Director Hanu Raghavapudi is a 5 films old person in the Telugu industry, but he attempts a film that is surely multi-layered and complex to direct. Banks on attractive performances by Dulquer Salman, Mrunal Thakur and Rashmika Mandanna, and a seductive chemistry between 2 strangers. He employs beautiful art direction and passionate cinematography by P.S. Vinu and Shreyas Krishna, where they make each frame look like a painting. However, sometimes the look of the scene is so intensely aesthetic and poetic that the passion of the romance and its longing does not catch up with it. The screenplay by Anu Raghavapudi and Rajkumar Kanamudi also take a long time in the first 1 hour to set the premise of the film. It all adds up beautifully well though later, but I was getting restless with the pace. On a different note, I am yet to see a film which employs Indian Army in the story to be true to the real culture, ethos and day-to-day workings and terminologies used in the army. For example, there is a lack of an eye for detail here where the scenes about army were concerned. Unfit men, overweight men in the army are non-existent. And also the words and the designations and the interplay is often not detailed and accurate. Razi film was closest that got there, but I'm still searching for that one film that gets it all perfectly. Secondly, the film uses back and forth as a narrative between 2 timelines, 1960s and 1980s. The transitions are fraught and uneven, with the aging of characters hardly showing, etc. And maybe it's time we start getting 2 versions of a movie. One, the long and indulgent 3-hour film for patient ones, and the other, shorter version, like a 2-hour film. Made on a budget of just 30 crores, the film is magnified in scale and global in sensibilities. Watching Sita Ramam is a fulfilling experience at the end of it. Moving on, our country's biggest passion are films, cricket and food. Now there have been beautiful links between Hindi film actresses and our cricketers. Here is another angle. Afghanistan's cricket team that have been known to be underdogs in the recent history of cricket, Afghani actress Wareena Hussain, who was paired with Ayush Sharma in a Salman Khan film, talks about Rashid Khan and the striking similarities between India and Afghanistan and the cultural links.
अफगानिस्तान में काफ़ी लोग बॉलीवुड फॉलो करते हैं, देखते हैं फ्रॉम लाइक बैक इन द डेज. माय मॉम यूज्ड टू से कि योर ग्रैंडपा वो वीसीआर रेंट करके हर थर्सडे को रात को लेके आते थे एंड वी वुड वॉच बॉलीवुड मूवीज. एंड अमिताभ बच्चन का अभी भी क्रेज है, बॉलीवुड का क्रेज है. तो फॉर माय मॉम सीइंग मी इन यू नो Bollywood movies getting a debut, it's really huge and special. और जैसे कि आपने कहा कि लोगों को सिर्फ ये साइड की स्टोरी ही दिखती है कि ओवरनाइट जो सक्सेस कहा जाता है, लेकिन उसके पीछे किसका कितना मेहनत है वो कोई नहीं देखता.
तो भाई आपने 2-3 दिन पहले अफगानिस्तान की क्रिकेट टीम ने जब श्रीलंका को धो डाला तो आप कहाँ थी और क्या आपने वो मैच देखा?
मैंने सुना कि राशिद खान ने बहुत अच्छा खेला है. मतलब बैक होम उनको द लाइन ऑफ अफगानिस्तान बोला जाता है. ही हैज मेड द कंट्री प्राउड एंड सडनली अफगानिस्तान की क्रिकेट टीम आ गई है और सब लोग काफ़ी खुश हैं. यू नो मोमेंट ऑफ प्राइड के इतने सालों के बाद जहाँ पे इट्स अ वॉर टॉर्न कंट्री और इतने सालों के बाद वी आर यू नो धीरे धीरे डेवलपिंग एंड आई एम पर्सनली वेरी हैप्पी. आई एम प्राउड ऑफ हिम.
तो आपने गली क्रिकेट कहाँ खेला था? दिल्ली के कौन सी गलियों में?
हम लोग रहते थे 12th तुगलक लेन में. जो मेरे पिताजी उस टाइम एमपी थे तो एक वो जो हमारे स्ट्रक्चर्स होते हैं जहाँ पे सारे मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट्स रहते हैं, तो हमारे पीछे ग्राउंड था और वहाँ पे सिर्फ मैं, मेरे बड़े भाई और हमारी जो पूरे घर का स्टाफ, हम लोग क्रिकेट खेलते हैं।
एमपीओ के बच्चों के साथ यही जाती
जी,
है।
हम लोग
नेबरहुड नहीं होता,
वो बिल्डिंग्स, अपार्टमेंट, दूसरे नेबर्स के बच्चे, हमारे से ऐसा कुछ नहीं था।
सोसाइटी के बच्चे।
जी, सिर्फ मैं, हमारी और जितना स्टाफ,
अच्छा,
हम लोग क्रिकेट खेलते थे।
तो मैं आपसे आज पश्तो में बात करूंगी।
मुझे पश्तो नहीं आता। माई मदर इज फ्रॉम काबुल, शी इज फ्रॉम काबुल, लेकिन पश्तो इज द सेकेंड लैंग्वेज, सो पश्तो हम घर पे पश्तो नहीं बात करते, दरी बात करते।
तो ये जो सेंटेंस है, आप कैसे हैं को कहते हैं तासु सिंगा ये।
हाँ, ये इतना मुझे पता है, आपने बिल्कुल करेक्ट बोला पश्तो में।
ज़ख़याम,
मैं ठीक हूँ।
ज़मानुम आतिका दे, तानुम सा दे।
वरीना हुसैन। आयुष is like, what is happening?
You know, हमारी कई फिल्में वहाँ शूट हुई हैं अफगानिस्तान में। फिरोज खान की धर्मात्मा थी, फिर खुदा गवाह वहाँ शूट हुई। मतलब अमिताभ बच्चन तो एक जमाने में गॉड हो गए थे वहाँ के। सलमान खान की क्या पॉपुलैरिटी है वहाँ पर?
सलमान खान को कौन नहीं जानता
अफगानिस्तान में?
सलमान खान।
सलमान खान।
सलमान खान। सलमान खान।
हाँ।
सलमान खान। That's that.
अभी भी उनके जो पोस्टर्स, एक जो यहाँ पर अभी इस टाइम पोस्टर वाला कल्चर नहीं है, लेकिन अफगानिस्तान में यू वुड स्टिल सी के पोस्टर्स आपको मिलते हैं, गाड़ियों में लगा होता है, एंड छोटी छोटी जो शॉप्स होती है उसमें उनके पोस्टर्स लगे हुए हैं।
वही मैंने प्यार किया वाला? आपके है कौन वाला?
तेरे नाम वाला।
अच्छा,
स्पेशली वो जो बार्बर शॉप्स है उसमें तो लगी हुई है। That is a must for them.
तो हम जब बड़े हो रहे थे, हम लोग जरा टॉम क्रूज की तरफ चले गए थे, लेकिन सलमान खान वाला दौर हमारी जिंदगी में भी रहा है।
इनकी मदर की बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग स्टोरी है, मैम बताइए।
अच्छा?
काफी साल हो गए कि हम हिंदुस्तान में हैं। जब हम अफगानिस्तान में थे तो माय मॉम वाज द फर्स्ट लेडी टू स्टार्ट ड्राइविंग इन अफगानिस्तान।
अफगानिस्तान में ये मैच जीता था ना, कितना प्यारा स्पेक्टिकल था। ऑल द मेन formed a circle and they were dancing, जो नवरात्रि के डांस से सिमिलर लगा।
Exactly, मैंने एक दो जगह मुझसे पूछा गया है। तो अतन जो है, अतन बोलते हैं, अतन इज गरबा का जो वो ग्राउंड, जैसे सर्कल जो हम खेलना बोलते हैं, अतन भी वैसे ही है कि यू डोंट डांस, खेला जाता है। तो वो उसके जो बैरल्स हैं उसमें भी टर्न्स है, ट्विस्ट है, ऑल दैट, सो इट्स वेरी सिमिलर।
मेरे और सलमान भाई के बीच में 25 साल का एज गैप है। एज गैप और मेरे फादर इन लॉ के बीच में तो बहुत ज्यादा बड़ा एज गैप है। मैं ऑनेस्टली खान परिवार में आता हूँ बच्चों के क्लोज। मुझसे 3 साल छोटी तो मेरी नीस है, अलीजे। तो मैं अलीजे, अयान के उनके ग्रुप में मैं ज्यादा ब्लेंड करता हूँ कंपेयर टू सीनियर ग्रुप। मैं जब पहले फिल्मी पार्टीज में जाता था तो मैं अर्पिता और सलमान भाई के पास रहता था कि मुझे छोड़ के मत जाओ, ये कौन है लोग, इन सबको मैंने टीवी पे देखा है, बट अब मैं घबरा रहा हूँ उनसे बात करने के लिए। उन्होंने मुझे बहुत कंफर्टेबल किया। पहले मैं ऐसा समय था जब मैं सलमान भाई को फोन करने से पहले अर्पिता को पूछता था कि क्या मैं फोन कर सकता हूँ, उनको डिस्टर्ब तो नहीं कर रहा हूँ मैं। अभी ऐसा समय कि हम छोटी छोटी बातों में दूसरे को फोन करता हूँ, कोई भी प्रॉब्लम हो गई, बात होती है, तो अभी तो कोई घबराहट नहीं है, अभी सिर्फ प्यार है। आज उनकी तरफ से जितना प्यार मुझे मिला है, जितना सपोर्ट मिला है, मुझे नहीं लगता कि किसी और को ऐसा मिल सकता है।
Time for a short break on the show. When we come back, we have singer Jubin Nautiyal Unplugged, whose film Sher Shah, by the way, has bagged so many awards at the film fair, and that beautiful song Kirata Lambiya Lambiya Re has also got so many awards. So wait for Jubin Nautiyal after the break. Welcome back. You're watching Now Showing. I'm Atika Farooqui. Now, director of acclaimed films such as Lal Kaptan, Manorama 6 Feet Under and Anushka Sharma's NH10 Navdeep Singh says that 1985's Oscar-nominated movie Brazil changed his life. It's the film which continues to inspire his films and his craft. Listen to Navdeep in conversation with my colleague Vishal Chatkara.
This is back in around 86, around that time, maybe it was late 85, I'm not exactly sure. My friends and I constantly be at the video library finding out latest film kaun si aayi, and that back in the day you watched whatever came here. वो हर हफ्ते दो उसके बाद 3-4 pirated prints आते थे and we'd watch everything. So he had this movie called Brazil, never heard of it. I'd never heard of Terry Gilliam, never heard of any of those people. But I remember we took it home and both of us watched it and we were blown. Yeah, we were just like, "Ye kya picture hai?" Brazil is this set in this very dystopian future. It talks of this consumerist future, this very bureaucratic future with terrorism happening and this very authoritarian government which controls everything. The main character is this guy called Sam Lowry, who's this junior bureaucrat, and he constantly has these very surreal dreams, and there's literally this girl he sees in his dreams, and it's actually a very sappy, emotional sort of love story in the middle of all this craziness. It was very inventive. I mean, till then I'd never seen a film which was so visually inventive. It was so full of ideas. It was in fact probably too crammed with ideas that if you look back at it, because it was just stuffed with ideas. And the art direction and the production design of the film was outstanding. I mean, it was like way before the kind of CG stuff we have available today. You could see the director's imprint and everything. In fact, I put a little tribute to that in Manorama. There's a truck driver who's a witness whose truck has driven over Sarika's character, and Abhay Deol's character goes to meet him, and his name is Shyam Lahiri, and which is a tribute to Sam Lowry in Brazil. Yeah, it's great to see how one little cockroach, which is like the opening of the film, is there's this in a bureaucratic office, one little cockroach drops into a printer, and a name gets mistyped, and how that sets up this whole chain of events, which eventually leads to the death of the person whose name got mistyped, and how the bureaucracy is just covering it all up. I think, yeah, both NH10 and Manorama, if I think about it now, probably had that little thing of like one small incident triggering off larger incidents. Brazil is almost India today. You know, it's what India, although it's been made 30 years ago, it's that perfect mix of bureaucracy and consumerism and paranoia about terrorism. In some weird way, it's almost like what our country is today. One line that really stayed with me is from the climax when Jonathan Pryce's character has just undergone some torture, and there's these two characters looking at him, and they say, "I think we've lost him." And he's just sitting there, he's become a blabbering idiot, and he's just humming the tune Brazil, the song itself. Just that line and that image just stayed with me.
Okay, moving on. Singer Jubin Nautiyal has a new song out titled Meethi Meethi. He talks to my colleague Vishal Chatkara about his best and his most challenging song recording experience, those comparisons with Arijit Singh, and so much more. I love that song by him. From Jolly LLB, Bavra man rahta ke tarse re, नैना भी मल्हार बन के बरसे रे. आवाज़ भी अच्छी है, लिखने वाले ने लिखा भी बहुत अच्छा है. So here is Jubin for you.
तेरी मिठी मिठी मैं ता गल सुने, तेरे सोने सोने मुखड़े तेरा बवेख्या. तेरी मिठी मिठी मैं ता गल सुने, तेरे सोने सोने मुखड़े तेरा बवेख्या. कदी तू जुदाई वाली गल ना करना, संग जीने मरने का इरादा हो गया. धड़का तो पहले भी दिल ये मेरा, शोर इस बारी थोड़ा ज्यादा हो गया.
Congratulations, that was wonderful. What a nice song, Jubin. Congratulations for yet another blockbuster of a song. That song is, of course, called Meethi Meethi, a fabulous melodious number in which you have done some rap this time. So, what is special about this song that made you go behind the mic?
I think the belief that my team had on me is the reason why I reached the mic. Payal, the composer, Aditya, the music producer, Rashmi Virag, the writer, Bhushan Kumar from the T-Series, the director, Bosco and his team, the director of the video, Mr. Vijay, the DOP, Mr. Vishal Sinha. There were some amazing people associated with this project. Just the confidence, just when I look in their eyes and they see confidence in me, is the reason why I touched the mic. Otherwise, it was a very, very different song for me to venture into.
Out of the many songs that you have recorded, would you please like to jog your memory today and tell us about your worst and the best recording experience?
My best recording experience was a song called Meharbani. It was amongst my first first songs actually. That was my first song. It released at number 2. I went and just dubbed it. Morning सुबह मुझे नींद से उठाया, उन्हें बोला आ जाओ, मैं चला गया. 20 मिनट में डब करके आ गया. I never knew that song is going to be so big. I never knew Akshay Kumar is going to be singing it on screen. I never knew so much about it. But later when it happened, it did make me feel gratitude. And that's the name of the song, Meherban. The most difficult song that I dubbed was Zindagi Kuch To Bata. I had to dub it for 6 days. There were moments when Pritam Da would be like, "Tu ghar ja, hogi recording, ho gaya gana." And then next morning I would still come back and I Dada ek baar aur karte hain, aur acha ho sakta hai, aur acha ho sakta hai. Because I knew the potential of the song. It was a brilliant song. I knew it was a cult song. I knew even if it doesn't blow up the way we think it would, it will be part of my journey. It will be a song that I will be identified from. And of course, Salman Bhai was on that song. It had to be perfect.
How would you react to those comparisons you often hear about Jubin Nautiyal and Arijit Singh?
I think I don't take comparisons negatively at all. You know, people need a benchmark to look up to. Arijit Singh is a brilliant singer and he's top of the line A-lister singer that our country has generated.
So as you.
If I'm getting compared to the number 1 singer, top of the line singer, then that means I'm almost there. And I always want to be almost there. I never want to be there. You know what I mean? Whenever I'm almost there, that means I'm always trying harder. When I'm there, then I don't know if I'll try as hard.
Also, congratulations! Your film Shershah won Filmfare Award for Best Music, and your song Rata Lambiya Re was really the song of the year. Did you expect such a big sweep for that music of Shershah?
I think the biggest of things are made in the simplest of ways, and that's exactly what Rata Lambiya is for all of us. It's a super hit song, very beautiful song, and we knew that we have a beautiful song, but we did not know it's going to be this big. People are going to love it so much. And a big shout out to the composer of the song, Tanish Bagchi. What an original composition. What a beautiful song. And the whole fan base and my love and respect to Captain Vikram Batra. And the film was about him. It was his, there was a lot of love that came for him basically to watch the film, you know, his story. It was his life that we were celebrating. Dharma Productions, a very dear friend of mine, Azim, who was curating the project. I think they did a brilliant job. Singer ko to end mein bulate hain, gana to pehle hi bana lete hain.
So then please give a few lines of Rata Lambiya Re.
तेरी मेरी गल्ला होगी मशहूर करना कभी तुम मुझे नजरों से दूर किथे चलिए तू किथे चलिए तू किथे चलिए जानदा है दिल ये तो जाने दी है तू तेरे बिना मैं ना रहूं मेरे बिना तू किथे चलिए तू किथे चलिए तू किथे चलिए काटू कैसे राता सावरे जिया नहीं जाता सुन बावरे के राता लंबिया लंबिया कटे तेरे संगया संगया.
कहाँ मैं खाने का दरवाज़ा गालिब और कहाँ वाइज, पर इतना जानते हैं कल वो जाता था कि हम निकले. अब हमारे भी निकलने का वक्त आ चुका है, यानी प्रस्थान का समय हो चुका है. लेकिन जाते जाते आई मस्ट रेकमेंड वन वेब सीरीज टू यू, एंड दैट इज Maharani 2. I was surprised by the sheer gravitas with which this political drama has been written with and performed by Huma Qureshi, Soham Shah and the team. It's gripping and one of those quality works in recent times that you must not miss. I say goodbye here. Do take good care of yourself till you meet again. Ciao.